Congress's national spokesperson, head of its social media cell, who joins us. Supriya Srinath, it's been a bad day in the office for the Congress. You are jubilant in Telangana, but you're being swept out across the Hindi heartland. You're even losing now Chhattisgarh. So it's clear it's 3-1. Ms. Srinath.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. And I will first begin with Telangana. It's important to talk about the positive news first. And I think wresting a state from a regional party 10 years after Telangana was formed is pretty historic for us. And the way we are winning Telangana, I think that's very, very encouraging. The fact that we are trouncing a regional party is big. That's a trend that one doesn't see very often. That's point number one. My own numbers and the numbers that I'm constantly seeing that we're getting internally tell us the tide will turn in Chhattisgarh, and I'm very reasonably confident about forming the government in Chhattisgarh. The margins could have been better, yes, but I think
the tide is not turning. If anything, it's going towards the BJP in Chhattisgarh. The BJP is pulling ahead.
So I am coming to exactly the question you asked me. Have the patience to hear me out. Once I'm done, you can of course counter question me. The numbers will turn around in Chhattisgarh. You wait and watch. Yes, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, and particularly Madhya Pradesh, is deeply shocking, if I may, because I think the way we read the election and the kind of feedback that we're getting from the ground was very different from how Madhya Pradesh has turned around. So yes, Madhya Pradesh has been very disappointing. Rajasthan, I see a little bit of glimmer of hope, even though the numbers are not going to put us back in governance. I think the hope in Rajasthan is that each time we had contested an election as an incumbent, we were trounced to the low 20s or the 30s. I mean, here we are standing at about 66. That's not too bad, and I think that gives us some room for solace as far as Rajasthan is concerned.
Clutching at straws.
We have traditionally been trounced.
Ma'am, with due regard, you're clutching at straws. I had Jaivir Shergill, your former colleague, on the show, and he made an interesting point. He says the problem is the Congress takes victory in elections for granted. It doesn't contest elections except for Telangana in a new way. Micromanagement, last mile connectivity. You missed that. You took Madhya Pradesh for granted. You took Chhattisgarh for granted.
No. I don't think anybody in their right mind in any party, whether it's us or the BJP, can ever take an election for granted. I don't think anybody can put their feet up and say that the election is long over before it's over. And when you lose, there are multiple reasons that will be attributed to it. I think there was a spirited campaign that was put up in almost all the states that we contested election in. Yes, we haven't won in some of the states that you've mentioned, whether it's Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan. I continue to be very hopeful about things turning around in Chhattisgarh. Could things have been better? Absolutely. Do we need to learn our lessons? Absolutely. But clutching at straws and things like that, I think it's headlines.
What are the lessons? What are the lessons and who's accountable? You see, the Congress, ma'am, with due regard, is full of platitudes. What are the lessons? What are the lessons? Who is accountable? You keep going back to the same figures. You don't effect generational change and you pay the price.
No, I don't think so. I think, all of you said regional leadership should be empowered. They were hugely empowered. Now, what should we do? We should hang them upside down because they haven't been able to deliver. I think, we read the mood wrong perhaps in Madhya Pradesh. And I think in Madhya Pradesh, maybe the regional schemes of Shivraj Singh Chauhan has put him back in the driver's seat. Maybe we underestimated the power of something like a Ladli Yojana, which was an ongoing scheme. What we were promising
to them.
But you
didn't misread the mood only in Madhya Pradesh. I'm sorry. If the BJP wins in Chhattisgarh, 53 leads at this moment, up 38 from the last time, you've massively misread the mood in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. In any fight where it's BJP versus Congress, you're being pounded.
No.
This is not, when you're saying you hope to turn it around, ma'am, you're not clutching at straws, you're clutching at thin air.
But I do believe that we will turn it around in Chhattisgarh. So should I come to your channel and not say that? I do believe we will turn it around in Chhattisgarh. Yes, Rajasthan has been disappointing, but I'm at least hopeful of the fact that we have not been trounced the way we were when we were incumbents the last time around, and which is why I do believe that our schemes have
half of the BJP in Rajasthan. BJP is at 120, the Congress is at 63. You're saying you haven't been trounced. I mean, how else does somebody get trounced? 121 versus 62, you're roughly half of where they are.
I will tell you how else. Rahul Kanwal, if you hear me out, You will see the reason and why I see hope in Rajasthan and why do I believe there is a glimmer of hope. Because the last time around, in the last few decades, when we have been incumbents and we have gone to sort another mandate, we have been very badly trounced. I think compared to that, these numbers are encouraging. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not rocket science that nobody is trying to understand.
Why is it?
We take the verdict with...
Ma'am, may I press you on that? Why is it that when you have incumbent governments, you have not been able to repeat it? Even in Karnataka in 2013, in 2018, you were not able to do that. It seems that once the Congress comes to power, they don't seem to know how to handle power and create a pro-incumbency mood. The BJP has done that successfully now in state after state, especially in the Hindi heartland.
I think the one big lesson that all our governments will have to learn, whichever government we form next and whichever elections we win next, will have to be that when you do your work, you have to spend more time communicating it to people. I think we fall short there. I don't think we are as good as marketing as the BJP is, and that's a lesson we should learn from the BJP. We do good work and we presume that the people are beneficiaries and they are going to vote you back. So I think that's a lesson that we have to learn. And I'm saying it with all humility. It's a lesson we have to learn. If you're doing good work,
what's the lesson that you've learned from a Jyotiraditya Scindia and with what went down? Because look at what's gone down in Chambal. It's a complete washout for the Congress, which you came back so strongly in 2018. What's the lesson on Jyotiraditya Scindia? Now do you admit you mishandled the situation?
So what is the lesson I can...
You're facing a rout in the Chambal region,
I can learn from somebody who quit the Congress and joined the BJP? No, I'm answering your question. What is the lesson I can learn from somebody who quit the Congress and joined the BJP? Is there a lesson I can learn from him? I don't think so. I mean, what is the lesson I learned from a man who does an ideological somersault? I think there is something called political ideology. His political ideology and ours do not match. So what lesson can I learn from him?
In a state where you've practically snatched defeat from the hands of victory, or the jaws of victory, that is what is being said in Madhya Pradesh. We spoke to your leaders, most of them turned around and say, "Hame janta jita rahi hai." You can't rely on the janta without really having a cohesive narrative, Supriya Shane.
The Congress at this moment is half the BJP in Madhya Pradesh, half
the
BJP in Rajasthan, and the BJP is settling into a very comfortable lead in Chhattisgarh as well.